So I've gone ahead and made a bridge plate, and it's fitting, basically perfect. It lines up great. How I did that was I used some painter's tape, and laid it along the sides. It's kind of deformed now, but I trimmed it up, and then when I peeled it off, it kept the shape that this fits, and then I could put it on top of my thickness board and cut it out, sand it to match. I did go ahead and bevel the corners on this. I beveled the corners that aren't touching anything more, but I did bevel all the sides on the top, not on the bottom. On the bottom, I scratched it up and wiped it down with acetone, so it should get rid of some of the oils in there, help it stick a little better. So we're ready to glue down all the flat bracing, really, because I need to still glue around the circle and the flat brace across the top, as well as the bridge plate. So I'm going to do all of that in one go right now. Alright, let's see what we got here. I'm actually going to mark this with a pencil so I know where it is. So I know where to put glue. Bridge plate is another one of those very important areas you want to get glue. It's really got to be good because you want it to make good contact, hold extremely well. Gives a lot of strength to underneath the bridge. It also helps with your sound. That's why your strings actually sit on the inside, is on the side of the inside of the bridge plate. So pretty good. I'm putting glue on both surfaces on this one. I really want this to stick well. It's very important. Stick well now and for a long time. I am putting the glue on off camera. You can kind of see it, but alright. That should suffice. Just making sure I put the glue on the right side. Probably something I should have thought about a little beforehand, but it's okay, it worked out. Now we gotta get that pressed down. I brought over a couple of pieces to help kind of shim my clamps, since I'm going all the way to the bottom here. Looking like that's going to work pretty well. You can already see some of the glue squeezing out. There we go. Awesome, 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 awesome. It's looking good. I'm going to try to clean that up real quick. And then I'll probably do the other two off camera because you can't really see them and I can't get the camera around to that side. But I'm going to get this set up. And then we should be done gluing things to the top for a while. Now you might be able to see it's all clamped up. All the flat bracing. I'm going to let it sit for a while, and I just noticed that we squeezed a little bit more out of here, so I'm going to try to get a little bit more glue out of there. It's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy, so I'm just going to let it sit. So I've been working on the back braces while the top is still clamped up. You can see I got them all cut out, and I've actually already, it's kind of hard to see in this angle, but they are radiused to the 15-foot radius. Since the last guitar, the California guitar, Jerry made the little jig to mark them real easy, so it wasn't difficult at all to get where I'm at. I think I'm going to glue these on here pretty soon. I may cut these longer ones down a bit, you know, maybe mark them off and cut a bit off just to, you know, deal with a little bit less, because like this one's hanging off a lot. So I may do that before I glue them up, but I am going to also glue these up with clamps rather than stick it in the regular Go Bar clamp. I'm just going to get some C-clamps and do it that way so that the back is pulled up into the radius it needs to be, rather than trying to press it and stick wedges and deal with that. So we're going to do it the same way Jerry did it in the California guitar, assuming you've seen it or it's out by now. Should be. Anyways, so I think I'm going to cut these down first, which I don't know where I left my pencil. So I'm going to cut them down, and then I'll probably get them glued up. I don't know if I'll bring you back while I'm gluing them up, after I've glued them up, 3 weeks from now, who knows. I'll bring you back eventually. Well, it might look like a mess of clamps, but somewhere in there, there's a guitar back. It's been a little while, probably close to an hour since the last clip. It's every deep-throated clamp we have, pretty much. So I can get it all in one go. Now I gotta go through and make sure they're all reasonably tight. The bright side is, once this is done, besides the flat bracing on the back, the stuff that runs down the center, I'm done gluing on bracing. Well, except for the stuff on the sides. So I'm done gluing on bracing on the top, totally at this point, and except for the strip down the back, I'm done gluing bracing on the back. So we're almost there. I'm going to go ahead and let this set up for a little while. Well, I've been carving on these top braces for a little while. Just getting a rough idea about where they need to be. Nothing too accurate yet. I'd really like to have Jerry take a look at them before I, you know, get too thin on anything. So they're chunky, to say the least. I've pretty much just been sitting here listening to some music and carving away. You can see I clamped this board on here. Also, I'm not over at my desk. This is typically where we set the side bender, and it sits a little higher, which makes it a little easier for me to work the chisel on it than my desk. Also, my desk is kind of full of a guitar right now. So anyways, I've been working over here, and I've got this board clamped across here to work as my stop. I could use the little one that Jerry uses that kind of hooks on the front, but it was kind of small for a full guitar top, and I didn't really like the ends hanging off of it, you know, unsupported. So if I put weight in the wrong place, I might end up breaking something. So I just clamped this board across the whole table, so everything's supported flat, looking good. But I'm getting there. It's been a lot of carving on here. You can probably see these braces are... I started off pretty tall. You know, my biggest fear with this is carving away too much. So I'm pretty much just trying not to do that. I still need to put in a little piece of cloth that goes here. I still need to carve these, the top one, top two actually. But beyond that, I'm gonna finish up this one here and probably knock the corners or the ends off of this and have Jerry take a look at them. And see if they're too tall, too bulky, that kind of thing. I'm sure they are, and that's good, because I'd rather they be too bulky and I can take them down rather than him say, well, these are kind of thin. That would be bad news. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. Well, it's been a little while since I've recorded anything on this, I think. I know it's been a little while since I've recorded, but it's also been a lot longer since I've actually worked on this. Took a little break. Anyways, you might be able to see I've been working on these braces quite a bit. Not so much these front two, but all the others. I had Jerry take a look at it today, and you know, they're coming along. Since then I've been kind of knocking the sides off, the corners off. I'll show you kind of like making them come to a kind of a point. It's just another way to knock some more bulk off of there. I gotta say, it's fairly evident that this is my first time doing this. They're not very smooth. You know, like the slopes, some of them have some hills in them, and they're not very smooth. But once again, this is the first one I've done. I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, cutting towards myself. Let's not do that. But there's going to be just a little bit of cleanup, you know, trying to get everything a little smoother. A lot of that stuff, you might be able to see I've got my phone sat here. It's got the last build Jerry did, which is still the California at this point, playing, so I can watch it and make sure mine matches his and that sort of thing. Once I get these, see these ones, the long braces, they kind of do come up to a point, but this brace up here, it's more rounded over. I'm not really sure how I can get it that different, but I'm gonna try. You might be able to see I've got a couple of chisels here. I ended up on this one. I've pretty much dulled the rest of them. Well, this one's too small. This one was sent to me, not Jerry, but me, by Christopher Dockery from Inman, South Carolina. So thank you, Christopher, for this nice chisel. I have been using it, but I, dulled this one and dulled this one. So you want to keep them sharp. They cut a lot easier and a lot more what you want. So I'm just setting them aside when I get them dull, because I'm too lazy to go sharpen them. I'll sharpen them eventually, but that's how I ended up with this one. They're really not looking too bad. I do need to work on this one some more. I need to take the corners down still. I think I want a wider chisel though, because it's a lot easier to do it with a chisel that's far too wide rather than one that's just barely the right size. If I get the wider one, knock these down. And this is what I need to do first, just knock the ends down. This current problem is my chair's moving, so I gotta stand up and do this. Very sharp, I think. Well, I got some more work to do on that one. This is a mess. So, once I get those down, I can start working on rounding this over. I need to kind of round this corner over, so round in the sound hole. Just knocking bulk off any way we can that doesn't affect strength. That's really what I'm doing. I'm not going to film anymore, because it's just me carving braces.